Well, you know, I think God and Moses both just have enormous respect for each other.
White gladiator has that same right spirit as in that reincarnated.
Look, the judges are gone. Even the Egyptian judge is impressed.
Until recently, you claimed that the earth revolved around the sun.
Welcome to History Bites. I'm Rick Green. Television today is full of angry crusaders, people who use documentaries, magazine shows, or investigative journalism to fight corporate cover-ups or expose government corruption. We don't even need to complain ourselves anymore. We can just watch someone else do it for us on TV. Well, back in 1837, English Canada was known as Upper Canada, and William Lyon Mackenzie was known as a crusader. An immigrant from Scotland, he'd come to Upper Canada in search of a better life. What he found instead was a colony ruled by a bunch of British-appointed aristocrats. If citizens had any complaints, they could go to nobody, or at least nobody who would do anything. Mackenzie decided that he could do something using the media, which at that point consisted of his own muckraking newspaper. Imagine, if only he had his own muckraking television.
UCTV's William Lyon Mackenzie Marathon kicks off with the award-winning documentary Francis and Me.
Good evening. We begin this evening with disheartening news from the province of Upper Canada. The Lieutenant Governor, Sir Francis Bond Head, has announced massive layoffs. In fact, the government workers who had been laid off are the Executive Council, who had all been appointed by Sir Francis Bond Head. The Lieutenant Governor dismissed the Executive Council just weeks after hiring reform-minded members to the Council. It appears Sir Francis Bond Head was willing to tolerate Canadians who are reform-minded, but not reform-mouthed. Sir Francis Bond Head urged calm, asking members of the local political unions to, quote, put any idea of a national rebellion totally out of your minds. NBC's cameras were there this afternoon to catch the last resolution rolling down the assembly line.
Hi, I'm William Lyon Mackenzie. I came to Upper Canada, started a paper called the Colonial Advocate. I tried to write about agriculture and such like that for men equality, but I got distracted by what was happening in the government. Guys I like to call the dysfunctional family compact. Of course, some bigwigs didn't like my caustic and clever editorials, and the local Tories felt they could stop my exposés by giving my printing press and equipment a bath in Lake Ontario. That made it kind of difficult to sell my next edition. What was wrong with the government here in Upper Canada? Why were citizens' complaints being ignored? I wanted answers, and I decided to get them from the man at the top. I went to the Assembly to see if the Lieutenant Governor was there. He's Britain's man on the spot.
Hey, what are you doing, sir?
It's okay, I'm just going to the legislature.
No, I'm sorry.
Is the Lieutenant Governor in?
I haven't seen him come in yet. Do you have an appointment, sir?
Well, you don't need an appointment to get into the Assembly. I was elected.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to call his office.
Well, I have called his office, but I don't think he can hear me with the window shut.
Well, then you can write him a letter. If you can write.
If I can write? What is that? I write letters and articles in the newspaper. I've written the whole newspaper. I've sent him a subscription for free, and I'm Scottish.
I'm sorry, sir. It's members only.
I'm a member.
Can I see your card?
Never got an Andrew Jackson presidential trading card.
No, sir, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. Tony, could you come out here, please?
Is that a buffet they're having in there? Can I at least have a look at the buffet?
No, sir, I'm afraid not. Tony, could you escort this gentleman away from the building, please?
Let's go. Let's go.
Get it.
Escort that camera away as well.
If you can't get your head around the family compact, it's not some kind of small but affordable stagecoach. It's something much more cozy. Just think of it as government of the Lieutenant Governor's friends, by the Lieutenant Governor's friends, and for the Lieutenant Governor's friends.
I heard the Lieutenant Governor was going to be at a party of family compact fat cats at their annual Harvest Home celebration. They'd employed some disgruntled farmers as living scarecrows, which was generous. This way, the farmers could have a first-hand look at people enjoying the food they had been growing. What do you think of the situation in Upper Canada?
Oh, we'll miss it so much when we go back to London.
Robert. But the folks who have to stay here don't think the colony's being run well. No jobs.
I don't don't have a job, and I love Upper Canada.
Well, people don't like what they have here. They should go back to where they came from.
Well, most of them came here as loyalists after the American Revolution. They're immigrants from Britain. They don't want to go back.
Well, then they should get up in the morning and get on with it, like I do. I get up in the morning, often by noon. Oh, do try the macaroons. They're delicious.
Does the sun always shine on the rich? Are the crown lands for them alone? We think they are. The Family Compact. An old way of life in a new kind of country.
Robert, which hot new British author is famed for dark stories of urban life?
Socrates.
Charles Dickens. Jerome, what was the occupation of a lunatic who fired 2 pistols at the American president and missed?
Postal worker?
House painter. Moira, how many bullets does President Jackson have in his body from previous gunfights and duels?
87.
2. Morris.
G'day. I'm in a shop in an old quarter of Toronto. This place was built in the late 1700s and it's literally teeming with hostile ghosts. They're a bit difficult to see, but I'm going to start bringing them out using various dark arts to see if I can catch one with my bare hands. Look at this. This place is supposed to be a prime spot for sighting the builder who hanged himself in the stairwell. He often hits people on the head as they walk through here. Now, I don't want to get hit, but I really need the ratings. I just hope my candle doesn't blow out. Oh, crikey! The ghost must have blown out my light. Now I'm going to have to be extremely careful. You're all right, Ghosty. You're all right. I'm not going to hurt you.
Steve is walking around in semi-darkness now, and I'm feeling a little bit worried about what's going to happen to him. He might run into the ghost, or he might just hit a door jamb and knock himself out.
Oh, crikey!
Who wrote, "We are ashamed of the divine idea which each of us represents, trust thyself"?
Onan?
Ralph Waldo Emerson. Robert, what system running parallel to railway tracks can be used to send messages?
Horse paths?
Telegraph wires. Jerome, what is the name for the new language of dots and dashes?
Spanish.
Morse code.
I'm pretty sure it was a ghost that threw me down the stairwell. But remember, he's just protecting his territory. And I'm sorry to say, but as rational thought and science become more popular and reading skills among common people increases, the real world and the spiritual world collide. Bam! Like that. And ghosts, like this dead man, are becoming endangered and harder to find every day.
Hi, how's it going?
Hey.
What you trying to do?
Well, I was gonna take my maple syrup to the United States, but there's no way for me to get out to the main road. I've been waiting here since last week for them to build me a road. Leastways a canal or something.
Are you a landowner?
No, I'm a tenant farmer. Alls I own, I'm wearing.
So you can't vote for someone who would represent you because you're not a landowner, and only landowners can vote, right?
No. I can't vote because I'm a woman.
Right. What was I thinking? So are you eating that maple syrup?
Well, if I don't sell it, then I don't got no money for any other food, hey? So, hey, you don't got no flapjacks or pancakes or nothing on you, do you?
I think I have a macaroon somewhere.
When we come back, Toronto begins its love affair with short, outspoken mayors. In 1837, the British-run government of Upper Canada was unreasonable and inaccessible. William Lyon Mackenzie and his reformers used every means possible to change the system from the outside, from written protest to armed conflict. But you can't fight City Hall, so Mackenzie decided to become City Hall.
I decided to become the first mayor of Toronto. Maybe with my new position I could get a word in with the high and mighty Lieutenant Governor.
I'm sorry, sir. What are you doing?
I just want to go through here.
It's the mayor's office, sir.
Well, I know that. I'm the mayor. I was elected.
It doesn't impress me.
It doesn't impress you?
No, sir, that does not impress me. I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
I just want to know, is the Lieutenant Governor in, Sir Francis, Mr. Bondhead?
Sir Francis Bondhead isn't expected in until 1836. Do you have an appointment?
Are you considering dentures? Then consider this. Wooden teeth can leak sap, and carved teeth can cause slivers. I'm Dr. John Greenwood, and I know about teeth and about dentures. That's why I make dentures using real human teeth, set in hand-shaped hippopotamus ivory using real gold rivets. They're comfortable, stain-resistant, and easy to remove. Affordable price and real human teeth. It's a combination that will make you smile.
Now listen, Joe, when homeowners have a blockage in their chimney.
Yep, you sure the blockage is in the chimney?
Yeah, let's just leave it at that, all right? It's in the chimney.
Okay.
Should they do it themselves, or should they hire a professional chimney sweep?
Well, you know, I don't want to discourage do-it-yourselfers there with that, but, you know, seeing as it's sweeps week. But, you know, unless it's a raccoon stuck in your chimney or something like that, I say hire a pro, folks. Go get a chimney sweep. Those 8-year-old boys know what they're doing.
Exactly. They're top. They do know what they're doing. But unfortunately, my problem is that the blockage in my chimney is a chimney sweep.
Oh, you're kidding. How did that happen?
Hey, my fault. It was my fault. It was my fault. I give you that. But listen, you know what happened?
What?
I figured I would hire a 12-year-old.
Why'd you use a big kid like that?
Listen, a 12-year-old, listen, this is what I figured. A 12-year-old, he's got the experience. He knows what he's doing.
Listen, Ed, and you people out there, same thing. If that kid knew what he was doing, if he was a good chimney sweep, he wouldn't have lived till he was 12.
Point taken.
As our own Chip Wilson discovered when he dropped in to see if Henry is indeed a Longfellow or just a normal-sized American poet and college professor. And as you'll see, Chip got his Wadsworth.
William Lyon Mackenzie found problems at every level of government and society. Huge land grants being given to the Anglican Church, problems with the education system, and a bad economy, which meant many people were just sitting at home instead of working, but only if they still had a home to sit in.
Well, as far as I can see, it's just the economy.
I don't care where you're from.
Well, just stack this stuff over there. Yeah.
Leave our stuff
Oh, it's pretty bad all over, you know, but they don't make their payments. We got to evict them. I try not to get too involved.
I don't understand why you're taking
Hey, Harry, is that a goat?
Yeah.
Get that goat out of there.
Taking a man's goat. That's cool.
Well, that was just some fine precision spittoon filling there, boys. Thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's often said that Upper Canada is no place for the arts. The scarcity of competent full-scale orchestras means that it is, as you're all aware, rare to hear the sound of symphonic music. But as our next guest will show, this colony is no land of cultural Philistinians. These delightful young lads are both child prodigies on the piano. They can both read music and hit the right notes almost every time. And they now will play for you one of the symphonies of Mr. Hedwig van Beethoven, adapted for piano by Frank Liszt. The piano was tuned tonight by our own Mr. Ronald Tripp. Let's hear it for Ronald. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, put down your ale, and please give a very, very warm welcome to the Appleton Brothers.
Hemorrhaging. Robert, which lord sponsored 800 displaced Scots to British North America?
Lord Jesus?
The Earl of Selkirk. Jerome, what 1816 massacre precipitated the merging of the Northwest and Hudson Bay companies?
The Seven Oaks Incident.
Correct.
And now a few minutes with Andy Rooney.
If you're like me, your biggest concern right now is getting through this winter alive. I'm not talking about the usual suspects, famine and disease. I'm talking home heating. What with this ongoing energy crisis, I'm getting a tad nervous. Rich people think us regular guys can just go out to the back 40 and chop down another aspen. Trouble is, we've been doing that for years, and we're up to our aspens in bare land. It seems ironic that in a country that's providing lumber to build the entire British Navy, people are dying because they can't gather enough wood to keep the home fires burning. Even if I do know of a stand of trees a mile away, how do I get the wood back to the house? I can't use my dog sled. They shot all my dogs in the last rabies scare. Basically, if we want to get some wood home, I have to carry it through the snow. To get warm, I have to get frostbite.
Record for polar expeditions.
Santa Claus.
William Edward Parry. Morris. What will give a farmer cows with droopy ears and a staggered gait?
Working on the Lord's Day.
Milk fever. Robert. Who appoints the members of the Executive Council of Upper Canada?
Adult male citizens of English Canada by popular vote.
The Lieutenant Governor. You ran out of time, but you were wrong anyway. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Hello! Sheriff's office here. I'm gonna evict you. Come on out. Nobody home, I guess. Oh, I've had to evict some good people. Just my job, you know. I feel bad, though, because these people are loyalists, loyal to the British Crown, and the only reason they left America was because they were being treated like dirt.
Did you ever think
that... yeah, they just treated them terrible down there. Hey, you guys, Christmas tree goes too. What? The trouble is, there just aren't enough factories open to, provide work for them here.
Did you ever think
I just feel bad, I feel terrible because, there's no opportunity.
UCTV's Mackenzie Marathon continues with Rebellion on the God's Awful Truth.
When we return, what if you organized a rebellion and nobody came? The Upper Canada Rebellion of 1837 wasn't all it could have been. Many people wanted reform and changes to the way that Mother Britain mothered Canada, but they didn't like the rabble-rousing methods of William Lyon Mackenzie. And the ones who did weren't ready for the first round of soldiers. The confrontation at Montgomery's Tavern lasted less than 20 minutes. Suddenly faced with properly trained British troops, the local farmers and businessmen took off like trailer homes in a tornado. It was every man for himself and no one for Mackenzie.
I'm gonna whip up a real live rebellion right here in Upper Canada. That's right, people. The Lieutenant Governor has women's breasts. And John Strong is a devil worshiper. And he has women's breasts.
All right.
Police brutality. Do you know that the Executive Council appoints friends and murderers to high-ranking positions, and they all have women's breasts?
Really?
Does that make you feel like rebelling?
I don't know.
Okay, how about if I told you that the Lieutenant Governor eats Methodist babies for breakfast?
Okay.
Blockhead out! Blockhead out! Blockhead out!
Just to give you an update, we've moved past lobbying and we're now into full-scale revolution mode. We're going to take over the government and form something else. I'm not quite sure yet. But we're handing out pitchforks and axes to everybody, and we're going to march down Yonge Street in a few minutes. Oh, sure. If you got guns, go ahead and use them.
Okay. Somebody heard bagpipes. It looks like they've called out the troops.
Oh, great! You just can't buy publicity like that. Soldiers, huh? They got guns?
Yeah, they're soldiers.
Ah! Where is everybody, though? Sam, you got the publicity out in time, didn't you?
Absolutely.
I just thought there'd be more reformers here. I really wanted a bigger crowd of rebels.
Come on. It's okay. 500 is good. I really think there's a good chance they'll fire on us.
Let's go!
Right.
with them was a complete write-off. Only lasted 20 minutes. Turned out they had cannons. They took my assistant Sam Lout, probably gonna hang him. So I'm gonna go into hiding. We'll just see how dumb those militia really are.
Open up in the name of the king. We need to search your home.
Come on, in. We're just poor farm people trying to get some rest.
Oh, our mistake, ma'am. We're looking for a man. He's a fugitive. Maybe you've seen him. He's a Scottish man, bad toupee.
No, haven't seen anyone since George here got smallpox.
Smallpox? Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. You have a good night now.
Gets him every time. Correct.
Next on UCTV's Mackenzie Marathon, cross-border conflict and comic farce with Upper Canadian Bacon.
We rounded up some volunteers and we're ready to help you all invade Canada.
Now, where's the supply ship?
Over there.
Near that big fire?
No, it is that big fire.
Okie dokie.
While William was down in the U.S. rallying rebel forces to invade Canada, he realized that things could use some improvement stateside too. So he started another newspaper to attack the American government. U.S. President Martin Van Buren, cheesed off at these violations of neutrality laws, hauled Mackenzie to prison. That was it for William's rebellion. He was eventually allowed back into Canada, provided he checked his Republican sentiments at the border. Canada did head towards responsible government, but some historians actually believe Mackenzie's rebellion slowed the process. The fact is, if you're going to war against a world power, you better be organized as well as angry, because history, like a musket ball at close range, bites.
Mr. Doubleday, an Army officer, says the idea of his new game, baseball, is to hit a ball with a bat and then run around a series of bases. Whether these are Army bases or naval bases is unclear. The game is similar to a British game known as rounders, but has some uniquely American twists, including spitting tobacco, adjusting athletic supporters, and bench-clearing brawls after a beanball.